Hi, everyone. Hi, we're just trying to get our guest online. I'm just trying to figure out. Hello, I was looking for Sprout.
I thought I was in a Sprout.
Your in is still on here, which is as good.
Okay. Shop to load. No, actually, I'd rather be Sprout.
Okay, so do you want me to send an invite that way?
Y-
Hello, it's nice to see you, by the way. I'm seeing you properly now. Okay, so not the best internet connection, but I'm going to go ahead and try and add Ellen another way. All right, let's see. Okay, so we're trying to get Ellen in as Sprout. Hi, how are you doing?
So are we connected?
Yes, we're on. We're on. How are you doing? It's good to see you. You've lost weight, Ellen.
Well, good. What? All right. We need a better background here besides my.
I love the Panama hat in the mirror works for me.
my hat from Oaxaca, actually.
I see.
All
How have you
right.
been, Ellen? It's good to see you.
Thank you. I have been good. I'm still a bit in the transition state because I was at my summer place and now I'm back in Brooklyn, so it's adjusting to city life. There we go. Can you see
Okay,
me?
so while Ellen's finding the perfect backdrop, I'm going to do a quick intro. I see a bunch of people have joined us on the live already. So today we have the pleasure of talking to Ellen Fish, who's my mentor and very, very long time friend. And we're offering a masterclass together that's been close to a year in the making, primarily because she's this reservoir of not only financial expertise, but a grade A social enterprise guru. And I just wanted to make sure that all of our expertise should be available to really anyone who's able to get access to it. So Ellen, thank you for taking out the time, and I'm excited to introduce you to everyone in our community.
Sounds great. Thank you. I'm flattered at all you have to say about me. So,
For me, you're the first person when I first started on this journey who essentially said, yes, you can do this, it's possible. And if it weren't for you, I don't know where life would have taken me. So that's something I'm never going to forget.
oh well, thank you. It's called the improv. The improv method of business development. I think it's sort of like you always say yes, and that's a rule out of improvisational theater. It's sort of like it's yes and to continue the story. So it's all
Yes,
about
and
continuing the story.
wonderful. Well, so to give you guys a quick background, when I first began to explore working in the social enterprise space, Ellen, I met her at that point very actively involved as the founder of Shop Telonia. And of course, she's at the helm of several social enterprises. Ellen, would you like to introduce yourself and your body of work? Or, I'm sure
Keep
everyone who's
going.
here would
It
love to
sounds.
hear more about you.
I say keep
I
going. It
see.
sounds better when you describe it.
um, from what I understand of Ellen's background, so we actually had to go into her LinkedIn page and find her bio, and it kept going because there's so much work you've done. But she just has such an immense expertise from the financial services sector. and then transitioned over to working in social enterprise. And just it's such a rare combination of someone with the kind of financial expertise and the kind of body of work you have there, and then having transitioned over to working with artisans in so many capacities. As Friends of Telonia, which is the US enterprise that's been providing market access to the Telonia organization in India, as Proud Enterprise, which is a community for so many artists, designers, and brands, and now is a Rise Artisan Fund, which financially provides support to early stage enterprises. Ellen, is that right?
Yes, we're working across. I think when people look at my background, it seems like it's everywhere and everything, from teaching English in Thailand to working on Wall Street to working for being a US diplomat in India. And for me, I think the thing that connects it all is I'm a bridge. I think of myself as a translator, as a bridge between different points of view, whether that's software developers on one side and business requirements and customers on the other side, or a designer and artisans. It's an ability to, I'm curious, right? I'm always curious, and I think of myself as curious and open-minded. And I think that allows an ability to translate requirements. I never thought of myself as a designer. I never went to design school, but it is a design thinking, if you will, and it's human-centered design approaches that are often taught in design school. And so it's being open to what's there. It's listening skills. It's critical thinking skills, and an ability to be entrepreneurial in the process. It's sort of creating. I've always been involved in product development or new business launches, and whether that's from the communication side in terms of trade shows and promotions, or in actually getting product specifications detailed and built and out the door. It's cross-functional in the sense that you have to be aware of all parts and pieces of what you're doing in the, say, fashion apparel or home textile business. That means being conscious of costs and the quality and the look and the feel and the trends and the colors and all of those pieces. But it's also paying attention to the fact that the product has to get somewhere somehow. So you get into the supply chain and the logistics issues of it. And ultimately it has to end up with a consumer who wants it. And that journey has lots of, as you know, has lots of twists and turns, and is much more important in the success of your business than the individual product piece.
Yes.
And I think for my experience has been working with young designers or coaching or mentoring young entrepreneurs starting out, is that they're very focused on delivering the product or service and aren't looking at the whole business and all of the aspects of the business. And so I think that's a skill that comes with time and experience, but that's certainly something that I think we will be talking about in the class and in the workshop. And that's part of what we bring to the table. It's like, okay, don't do it the way we did it, because we did lots of we had lots of mistakes.
Well, the one thing which I have to add to that is that I think Ellen is I think mentor and guru to, I want to say, hundreds of us, if not dozens of us, bright-eyed, naive designers who thought that we could somehow, I don't know, do good simply by drawing beautiful sketches. I actually came to you with my red sketchbook and 50 pages, and from that extreme to your entire breadth of work and your ability to see the big picture and guide others to take their intent and how to make that a reality is really such a wonderful ability that you have. And you have such a big body of work of having done that. And I think anybody who signs up for these sessions gets the benefit of your mentorship and long-term guidance, because like you said, that very little video of yours, that capital, finances, and the practical aspect of, or rather the daily realities of of running an enterprise that has impact, that can sustain itself, is so critical. And those of us with traditional design school education don't actually have access to a ton of knowledge around the practical nuts and bolts in finances. And so I think more than anything else, I need these sessions still. So I'm already signed up. So just wanted to tell everyone who's listening that I've had the personal benefit and the great fortune of having Ellen as a mentor. And it's amazing. She humbly says she bridges a couple of different worlds, but actually she has this huge area of expertise where, having been on Wall Street and having worked in social enterprise in the way that she has, she brings together really the financial skill set and the astuteness that more of us in the social impact space need to have. And so just a quick intro to the sessions that Ellen so kindly put together for us. It's a two-part series. The first one really walks us through the nuts and bolts of the various financial tools you need to be able to run your financial enterprise. Like Ellen said, that so many of us are focused on product, but we have to be thinking about the business as a whole. And the second one is much more up close, one-on-one mentorship, which I think in itself is not something you can put a price on. With that introduction, Ellen, would you like to elaborate on what anyone signing up would hope to learn from these sessions?
Well, I think the first thing to learn is don't be afraid of it. Too many folks think of it as if you're not comfortable with finance or accounting, and you're not necessarily comfortable with numbers. I think there's a hesitancy and a confidence level that if you're running a business and you're really committed to running that business, you need to get over that. Quite simply, yes. It's just jump in, and it's not as it does not have to be as complicated as it looks or it seems. It's really, if you can add and subtract, you can do it. It's very straightforward. And what we'll cover in the class, I hope will be informative and help simplify your thinking about the ways to approach it, giving you a framework to understand what is an income statement, what is on a balance sheet, what is cash flow, why do you need to worry about these things, and how does that fit together to tell the story about your business? How do you then use that to present to investors? And it's one more way of rendering your vision as for a business. So you may have a vision of what you want to do with artisans or with craft or with design. The financial story gives it a skeleton. It gives a framework for that business to sit on. And it's another way, it's a quantitative way of telling that same story. So how do you do that? How do you take the numbers and take a look at where you are today and where you want to go? And so it's understanding financials in that context of saying, okay, yes, you can take all your receipts and dump them in the lap of your accountant, but that's not going to help you envision your business. It's not going to help you grow the business. So how do you do that? How do you embrace the numbers and the financial story and own it as your business and use those tools to communicate about your business? And so that's kind of the things we'll be looking at. We'll be looking at the business model canvas, which is another framework for laying out your business concept, not just for yourself, but to engage your partners and your business team, because nobody starts a business alone. It is a grueling activity. I'm sure Sonica can tell you that. It takes a lot of grit.
I have white hair to prove it.
It takes a lot of grit and determination, and you have to be able to do it as a team. And so these tools are ways for the team to communicate and to think about and talk about all aspects of the business. So it's a storytelling tool in some ways. We just are telling the story in numbers.
And you know what's really interesting, Ellen, and this is just going kind of back to our intent of why we even decided to do this. It's we've been doing these conversations with women who we find inspiring. Obviously you're on that list. What we've been finding is that a lot of first women and a lot of people in the design space, when it comes to money or finances, it's like a blind spot. So I think I think if more designers and more women in general had more access to tools, I think they would have far more impact and far more control over where their organizations are going over the 2, 5, or 10-year period. So just the deck that Ellen's created with regards to the financial tools you have to have, also at what stage of growth your enterprise is and what that looks like, what the big picture is. It just, I can't wait to dig in. And on that note, Ellen, you
Sorry,
spoke about
moving
the
around.
importance of.
I'm moving
Sorry?
around. My power is low, so I had to go find a power cord.
That's completely okay. I love the paintings at the back overall. It's photographs or paintings, whatever, the background is beautiful. The on the wall, is that photos?
Mostly
You're up
photos,
on the
yes.
Cape. This isn't your Brooklyn space, is it?
This is, I'm in Brooklyn.
Ah, okay. I don't remember that particular. Maybe I've forgotten. I need to come back there. It's been a while.
Exactly. It's time for another visit. And we've
I know, long overdue. Well, as of today, Indians are now, well, the US opened up double vaccinated people, so maybe I'll see you sooner rather than later.
exactly. Although it may be a
If I don't learn enough from Ellen's sessions, and if I can't scale my social enterprise, then perhaps my plan B is that Ellen will adopt me.
Sure. Come.
So Ellen, we were talking about, you said in the video that capital is key, and I don't know how many of us, when we enter the social enterprise space, for want of a better term, even understand the importance of capital and the role it plays in terms of growth. It's something after so many years I barely have like cognizance of. So would you like to elaborate a little bit more on that and how we'll touch upon that in these sessions?
Sure. I think the you need capital to grow, and whatever form that capital takes. That may be financial capital, that may be investments, whether that's in terms of cash you put in or loans you take, or equity that comes from anyone, friends and family or investors. You need that capital to grow your business. Profit margins alone at a small scale aren't going to do it, aren't going to give you that much scale. And so it's understanding how a metaphor would be gas in the engine of your car, petrol, to run the car forward. You need that flowing through your system to be able to drive anywhere with your business. And so even if your ambition is fairly small and you're wanting to grow, you're not really wanting to have a zillion stores all over the world or be a global brand, you still will need it to finance inventories, to provide production advances, to get material and put it on the shelves and reach your customers, to do the marketing. And that input is what helps make it all happen, right? So it's a system that you have to pay attention to. It's like a steam engine or something, with or your body, your health. You have to take the temperature, you have to take your blood pressure, you have to understand what nutrients you're putting into the business and what you're taking out of it, and how that all functions. Or a garden, you have to plant a seed in good soil, and you have to water it and give it sunshine. All of those elements help something grow, and a business is no different than that. So it's understanding what are the elements that go into the business beyond your creative forces, beyond your ingenuity. What are the things that you need to bring together to make it all happen, to get that product produced, get that product to market, have people understand what your business is and what you're doing in that business. All aspects of it have to happen. And the better you can optimize, the better you can make your business process and how you do what you do efficient and cost effective, means that your business will be better. It's like training for a marathon. We had the New York City
Absolutely.
Marathon yesterday, so it's the same. You have to feed you have to eat right. You have to train right to be able to run that distance, and it is a distance. It's not a sprint. It's not short. Building a business is a long-term activity, and you really have to be committed to the training that goes into it to make the distance. So, which is one of the
Absolutely.
things that, my dear, you've done very well. I think you've reinvented your business and refocused it and added these classes. I think it's amazing. So
Thank
it's
you.
always a
Thank you for
pleasure
that.
to,
It means a lot coming from you.
yeah, yeah.
Um, it's just your metaphor of the marathon is so right, because while you were talking about having a business plan and the financial aspect, when I first started working in social enterprise about 10 years ago, it was still relatively new. You've of course been doing this a very long time, and now all of a sudden there is a whole, it's the new thing. And what amazes me, and you've been doing this a lot longer, is that so many enterprises begin, but it whittles down to such fewer numbers in 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. And I think that long game and the ability to stick it out is, it does come down to being able to manage your financial resources, because without that, how do you keep going, especially when you have social
Yeah.
impact commitments?
And
So I think anyone who wants to really make a life of purpose, I think what you have to offer in terms of a lifetime of learning is just invaluable. So thank you again for doing this.
well, I think it's a question of character. If all you want to do is focus on one aspect of the business, if you're into marketing or you're into the design and the production, then do that for a company. It's going to be a whole lot easier. It
Yes.
takes, I think, many folks who start a business don't understand how tough it is. It is a tough
Yeah.
way to make a living, and it takes a lot of grit. It takes investment of your time and your energy, and I've worked with customers and folks who've been in business for a period of 5-7 years. They've done it well. The children have been small. It fits a certain part of their life, and after that it doesn't meet their needs, so they may close the store, they may change direction. I think it's a very personal choice. And you really have to be self-aware and evaluate the choice you're making to start a business, and really question this question why you're doing it, what's your purpose in doing it, and understand. It takes and again, it takes partners. It takes people who are supporting your vision. And do you have that? Do you have the right partner? Do you have the right team? This is harder than marriage. It's hard. It's a tough
Yes.
way
Yes.
to exist. But that's, I'm making it sound horrible, but that's it is challenging. But the flip side is, if you put in the work, put in the training, you win the marathon. You do achieve that. You have, what's exciting about it is the ability to see how it evolves and how you can grow in that process. And I think that speaks to my curious side, right? It's sort of like, what is this about, and how do I improve this, or how do I change this, or who do I need to be working with to make this, to accomplish this? And those for me, those are very intriguing questions. So I think that's part of the piece that an entrepreneur needs to evaluate. Is this for me? Is this the kind of lifestyle? Is this the kind of work that I appreciate? It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of optimism. It takes a lot of commitment. But at the end of that, there's a joy in seeing something that you've created and seeing it grow beyond what you had initially envisioned. And adapting to, I don't know anything else that offers the same kind of reward.
Reward. Yes, exactly. Right there with
and
you.
that and
No,
I'm
I
not
mean
and
it's
I'm
so
not just
strange. I was remembering one of the first sort of, I would say, sessions I had with you. We were talking about the reality of being of carrying not just your own finances but a company's finances on your shoulders. And you said to me, I was in the US at the time, and you looked at like what I was costing things as, and you said, have you considered your health insurance? I don't know if you recall giving me this guidance, but something as basic as being able to factor in costs and actually having a business model that works and that is sustainable is a tall order in the early days, and then to kind of build a life around that is huge. So absolutely.
exactly, exactly. And you have to think of all of those pieces, and that's where I think starting out, many startups don't price their product or service appropriately. I think particularly folks who are consulting don't think about that, and you have to cover everything. You have to cover the insurance and the taxes and the rent and the phone and the utilities and all of those pieces. So
Yes.
um, you have to get very tough and realistic about what you can sustain and for what time period, because it's not just, okay, what's the rent today and can I pay my bills this month, but can I pay my bills for the next year? And how long does it take me to get to break even, and what kind of money do I need to have into this, put into this business to get there? I think the phenomenal thing today, like you were talking about, there's just been an explosion in terms of social enterprise and people worried, aiming products and services at conscious consumers, is there's just an explosion uh, of this, and it's exciting. There, there are more ways to reach customers. There are relatively low cost ways to set up an online store, and the tools to do that are phenomenal. To be able to reach customers, to be able to work and build, and you can build a lifestyle business without going into huge amounts of money. If you want to build a global brand, you're talking at another level and another stage. And I think that's one of the things that we'll share and we'll talk about in the class is kind of, where are you? What stage of business and how big do you want to be? What scale of business do you want to have? And there's a framework that is out there that I've going blueprint to scale. And what are the stages of business, and what are the types of capital that you'll need at each stage? And that becomes part of the assessment. Where do you want to be on that framework? How I've worked with any number of enterprises that have started up and they've grown to a stage 3 or a stage 4, but they haven't gone beyond that. And some
Mm.
of that is and I'm sometimes perplexed at the reasons why. And I think part of that may be there's a hesitancy or a lack of confidence or intimidation at going after the larger capital to grow bigger. But there's also, I think, a lot to be said for a well functioning, sustainable business that grows modestly. And there's
Mm.
too much emphasis at times on, particularly when you get into capital and looking to do capital raise, on growth and scale. I mean, that's classically how venture capital works. It's the model, but it doesn't always suit. And so I think we get into, where do you want to go with your business? What does that mean in terms of the capital you're going to need, and at what stage? And I think that becomes part of the one-on-one mentoring. It's like, once you get a bit of a handle on numbers and putting your financial picture together, you get clarity enough to go beyond that and say, okay, I can do it at this level. How big do I want to get? How big is my ambition? And what do you do with that? And I think that's one of the things that you've been so, you aren't stopped by anything, and you're always wanting to pursue, what's the next challenge, what's the next piece that I can do. So So the reward may not always be huge payoff financially, but there's certainly a reward for learning and growing within the context of building a business, growing a business.
I mean, absolutely, Ellen, you hit the nail on the head. I think developing an awareness about what is the scale that you're comfortable at is kind of central. Actually, I'm going to pause here because there's actually someone leaving comments for you. So I'm going to just quickly say hi to them. Maitri, hi, this is Sonica. She says that this is a really interesting conversation, and she says that she has her own little startup. She's joined us in the middle of the live. And for anyone actually who's signing in now, just a quick refresh. We're here with my mentor, Ellen Fish, who is going to be conducting a two-part masterclass on the financial aspect of running a social enterprise coming this weekend. And this is just a little taste of what it's like to learn from her. And the second session, you have the opportunity for one-on-one mentorship as well. For those who are considering signing up or who have questions before we wrap up, you're welcome to ask questions about what you could hope to learn. Maitri and whoever else is commenting, if you want to learn more about the sessions, there's information about it on my Instagram wall. Also, my link in the bio has a direct link for sign up that has information. Anybody who signs up today after the live, I'm happy to send you guys a discount code as well. So having put that out there, Ellen, in the second session, we're going to talk a little bit about, like you said, one-on-one mentorship, and for those who want to go out there and maybe raise funds and raise capital to grow their enterprise. And I know you will have established the Rise Artisan Fund. Just as someone on the other side of things who is involved in investing in businesses all over the world, what do you look at when you think about or consider investing in a social enterprise? Because I'm sure a lot of businesses would stand to learn from you on that subject as well. Hey, Ellen, do we have you here? Okay. Let's get her back in. Okay, we lost Ellen for a second, but we're going to add her in.
I think,
Again.
yes, there we are.
Hello.
I've been I'm back, sorry.
No worries. Did you hear my question or should I repeat? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I heard your question. What do I look at when I'm investing? I'm the kind of person, I bet the jockey is sort of the jargon and the expression. I don't bet the horse. I'm not someone who I fall in love with certain kinds of businesses, but more often I fall in love with the entrepreneur. So for me, it's a character assessment. One, has this person had the kinds of life experiences that indicate they're going to stick with it? He or she is going to stick with it. What the kind, is it somebody who worked their way through college? Is it somebody who worked for minimum wage jobs as they were starting? Do they have a side hustle? Did they get this going while they, evenings and weekends while they were working a day job? Versus somebody who had it easy, or easier, right? The kinds of indicators, how are they coming to this business? Is it something that seemed cool because they were studying social enterprise in their business classes, or was it a personal experience? Are they trying to solve a problem or address a need that they saw in their family or in their community? And those are the kinds of factors that get to what I was talking about in terms of grit or commitment. Some people will just stick with it, and building a business and being successful at it often is just your ability to solve the next failure, right? It's solve the next problem. And yeah, it's all about figuring out when things go wrong, what to do next. And that takes time and it takes money. And so you can succeed if you've got the grit to stick with it and keep doing it. Like your business doesn't fail till you give up. It will succeed eventually, if you stick with it. And so who's going to do that becomes part of my assessment. The second piece that I look at is it in an area that for me makes a difference. Is it within one of my impact themes? I look at issues of women's empowerment. You know, is it a woman entrepreneur or a women's team? You know, a team of women. Is it serving women? Is it in a community that needs something? I am not at all interested in the latest tech app out of Silicon Valley. That doesn't get me excited. It's like, okay, so I can order fast food more easily and inexpensively, or I can flag down a car. Those aren't the kinds of pieces that I'm interested that are. So I'm looking at things that are innovations or developments in emerging markets. I'm looking at energy solutions, clean energy solutions or livelihood solutions um, that are changing the dynamic. Through a Rise Artisan Fund, we've invested in Illum Mexico, which is a solar energy company that is installing solar systems in remote villages, remote communities that are not solar electrified in Mexico. And we've invested in Biduk, which is a gender lens financing platform in Indonesia. So they're looking at lending working capital, providing short-term working capital loans to women-owned companies or companies that are employing women or benefiting women. And so it is often in rural communities, marginalized communities that I'm most interested, because I think those are the toughest environments to be working in. I mean, I can get into a whole political rant, but it's like poverty is a systemic issue. We choose to let people be poor. There is enough wealth and enough, my personal philosophy, and I think many of the structures we have in current system, the current capital system is extractive. And I think there's a whole lot of discussion these days about regenerative economies, regenerative agriculture. I think there are circular economies. I think there are lots of ways of doing better than what we're doing. And those are the kinds of innovations that I'm most excited about. And so to summarize that long rant, it's kind of, does the entrepreneur and the team, because I think it takes team, does the entrepreneur understand and have an ability to attract a team and put a team together? And are they addressing an issue that I care about? And those are kind of the two top level decisions in terms of what I look at and how I invest. And below that, it's just sort of mechanics. Are they people who listen to advice, right? If I provide my time and energy and resource, are they listening to the feedback I'm giving? And that becomes pretty critical. Is it somebody that I can work with over the long term? I remember for many years I was part of an angel investment group, and one of the gentlemen who was raising capital and presenting companies was, look, if I'm investing in a startup, is this somebody who I'm going to be spending a lot of time with? And it's like, is it somebody do I want to sleep on their couch when we get, when we have a long conversation or travel cross country to meet with them? I think it can be you need to bond. You need to be able to have a good relationship with between the entrepreneur and the investor to make it work and to make it values aligned, to make sure you're working toward the same objectives. Otherwise, you're working at cross purposes, and who wants to do that?
I'm looking down at the comments. There's people applauding you at the moment. Just wanted to say that. I think there's a bunch of people on here who are all, I'm assuming, social enterprises. So I'm personally shaking my head that I don't think people understand that when you go look for investment, your investor is also in varying capacities a guide. It is much like a relationship. So you have to be careful who you get in bed with.
Exactly. I think these are more challenge. They're among the most challenging relationships you might have. I mean, with family or partners, you're there and there's a different flavor. Anytime you sort of entwine finance and other kinds of ambitions, it just gets very complicated. It can get very complicated very quickly. And I've gotten to an age and a stage of my life where I just don't want to deal with the nonsense. If you're not
Sure.
on board and you're not approaching your business or the business that we're talking about doing together in a collaborative fashion on values where it's not just about you or the money you'll make, it's about a broader purpose than that, then I don't have time for you. It's just I have no time for I'm lucky I can make these choices, but I have no time for customers who want to pinch pennies and harangue me for the biggest break or the biggest discount. There's more to it than just the cheapest price you can get for something or the least you can pay to source your goods. I don't have, it's not the only barometer. It's not the only measurement that matters here. So
Ellen
if
put
you're
it
not on
best that
board,
there's just no time for nonsense. So for those of you who actually want to get the nonsense wastage of time out of running an enterprise and are looking for direct one-on-one feedback, there's a sample right here of what you get when you're mentored by Ellen Fish. So if you're looking for a nice but kind kick in your bum to take things to the next level for your social enterprise, this is the place to get it.
exactly. It's a nice kick, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
it's also I think that goes to the two-way street. It's I'll put it I'll put in my time and my energy and sometimes my money if someone else if we're making progress, right? Like if I feel that the relationship is working, then that is something to focus on and move forward. It's like how do we grow the business? How do we impact and create more livelihoods? How do we produce products ethically that are appealing and serve a purpose? I mean, it's
Absolutely. Just in the last like a minute, a whole bunch of people just joined us. For those of you just joining in, I'm in conversation with Ellen Fish, who is our guest mentor for the upcoming Finance to Grow Masterclass this weekend. And she's walking us through what she looks for if she chooses to invest in a business. This is a masterclass that she's been so kind to design specifically for design and social impact-based enterprises who need financial guidance on how to run their business and manage their finances and what stage of capital investment or scale they might be at and what it means for them to look for funding. And in the second part, they have the opportunity to really come to Ellen with various pain points in their business and one-to-one mentorship. And this one-on-one session with Ellen is a bit of a teaser of what you can hope to receive from her benefit and guidance. And I started the session by saying that she's my mentor, and it's been her guidance at very critical aspects of my life working in social enterprise that I've been able to continue to move forward. So thank you for that, Ellen.
well, you're welcome. But
um,
I think you need to run the Sonica's masterclass in social media and IGTV. It's like you're a natural born podcaster or radio broadcaster here. You've got the whole flow down. So I think we need to have a
the
program on media and marketing that you teach, and
you know what the
I will
secret
attend
is?
that.
The secret is the filter. So there's like a nice little filter here. I'm just so happy with the fact that none of my like white hair is showing too much. So that just kind of keeps me focused.
Well, I
No,
think
I'm kidding. It's just
one of those things
honestly,
I need is the little
go ahead,
tripod so
please.
that I don't have the tools yet. I have to get appropriately set up for all these
I hear you.
IGTVs and things.
I mean, honestly, for those of you who are listening, if you actually are in the product design space, if you're a female entrepreneur, if you're in social impact, you cannot do it alone. I mean, you're fortunate if you have an army of women, inspiring women like Ellen, who have sort of been down the path that we are walking down. And if it weren't, for example, for me, it's easy for me, Ellen, to show up. You're the one who's sharing whatever you've been through, and then I get the benefit of learning from it. And so that's essentially, like we talked about, why these master classes. It's because I mean, this is now my officially my 21st or 22nd year working, and I feel like I've had the benefit of such immense guidance it's my responsibility to give it back to the community. So we're fortunate to have a small community of young businesses that follow us. And really all we're doing with mentors like yourself is let them know that there is this immense resource in direct guidance from someone like you that they have access to should they choose to make the most of that opportunity. I mean, I had to struggle for years before several people wouldn't even accommodate a phone call or respond to an email of mine till I found you. So I want to save people all of those years of struggle because, like I said, I will never forget the fact that you were the first person who said that you want to work in fashion and social enterprise. Yes, take a step forward. And this is how you should or should not be approaching things. When I look back, had I not met you, I'm not quite sure what trajectory my life would have taken. So I think people would be lucky to have gotten this opportunity to receive mentorship from you. And so I'm so excited to let everyone know that we have the sessions coming up this weekend. You can sign up on our Instagram bio or DM us. And so that's essentially, I guess, a good, quick overview of what we're going to be covering. Ellen, anything else you'd like to share with us? Any thoughts that you'd like to leave us with before we sign off for the night?
I have some questions. What else do you have coming up? I know you had spoken with Harper. Who else is it? Who else are your mentors? I missed the indigo dyeing and I regret that. So what else is coming up and when do we have a library of all these classes to go back to in our own time zone?
I mean, honestly, there's a bunch of things coming up. So what we did is, of course, we did two things. One, we reached out to mentors like yourself, who we know are a wellspring of knowledge. So, of course, there's You for Finance, Harper Poe, who's the founder of Proud Mary. We've invited her to do a session on design and artisan partnerships. And even though that's something I've worked with over the years, but she's worked in other countries. I think her work is primarily in Morocco and in South America. And so we're thinking of doing a session, a two-part series where I'll speak more about India and she'll speak about her experience working in Africa, South America, and other countries that she's worked in. Then there is Sonia Hilling, who is an expert in circularity, and we're in theory creating a class around a business changing their business model to have circularity be at the center of it. And what I'm saying in theory is because it's such a vast subject that we're still figuring out how to present it as an easily doable masterclass series. Is you know from personal experience, taking a lifetime of work and condensing it into 2 sessions is a lot. There's also Madhulika, who I don't know if you know, she's the founder of a handloom silk cooperative in Bihar that she's created from scratch. She literally went into a bunch of ancestral land and created a women's cooperative from zero. And so she will help those who want to establish nonprofits in India navigate that space. And all of the collections we're doing have masterclasses with them. So we've had one on e-cut design, one on natural indigo. And our goal really is to make all of this content ultimately free. But at the moment, we're not in the financial position to do so. So maybe after I've had my session with you, I'll have figured out how to make this free and accessible for everyone down the road. But for now, we're trying to I mean, it's often a small class size, and the cost is to make sure that we can keep doing these classes. And so, yes, that's what's down the pipeline. But for our immediate core mentor network, all of the recordings are available. So I can send you a recording or whatever you'd like. For real.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It sounds wonderful.
Thank you, Ellen.
I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Absolutely. I can't wait. And for everyone who's listening in, I think from various time zones, it is Friday and Saturday evening, India time, Friday and Saturday morning if you're in the US. If you yourselves or have a network of young entrepreneurs who are looking for financial guidance and quality mentorship, Ellen is the diamond standard. Thank you, Ellen, for your time. Lots of love. And you have lost a lot of weight. I have to come back and get you some wine and cheese and get you all plumped up again.
Yes, sounds good. We'll talk soon.
Lots of love. Thank you so much for doing this. We popped your Instagram cherry. Lots of love. Take care. Thank you, Ellen. And so before you go, Ellen, just letting you know, this interview as well as the highlights of what you've shared are going to remain on our wall. So anyone, even if you guys choose not to attend the session, this is a great way for you to know what an incredible mentor Ellen is. And if you're lucky, maybe she'll respond to an email that you sent her way. So I'm going to leave it on our wall for people to have a look at.
Always
All
respond to
right.
email. It just takes me some time
Absolutely.
sometimes. All right. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Thank you. Good night.